Ladies and gents out there on the old interweb, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about what I've been waiting a couple months for, since I did a review that was talking about their new single and that they were going to put out an album. Gov't Mule has blessed us with a blues album. Now, before we get into that, like, subscribe, hit the Patreon page. Let's get a community of like-minded music lovers together and let's have a conversation. Now, let's talk about this new Gov't Mule album, Heavy Load Blues, released November the 12th, 2021. Now, like I said, I did a video. If you watch the channel, all 3 or 4 of you that are out there watching it, thank you, by the way. Now, I did a review about when they announced the album, and the first single was Heavy Load, and then I did like a reaction kind of video about Snatch It Back and Hold It. Hold it back, snatch it back, and hold it. So, here we are. The day came, and the album came out, and here are my thoughts on it. Now, to talk gear, if you watch the interviews with Warren Haynes and the guys, Warren used a ton of amps and a ton of gear on this to get a older blues album vibe of like a 60s 70s blues album. So he used a lot of stuff that is not typical Warren Haynes gear. I am not a Warren Haynes gear expert, but his typical live Gov't Mule setup, I have seen it up close and personal multiple times. I've had my hair split by it. The Soldano, the 412 cabinets, the Diaz, the Homestead, the pedals, the Les Pauls, the whole 9 yards. So for this, he used a lot of smaller, if you watch videos of it, he used some small Fenders. There's amps everywhere, and I talk about it a little bit in one of the other videos, but there are amps everywhere, and I don't hear his standard Soldano beefy tone. So there's gear, right? Now, let's talk my top 3, because that's what we do. We talk my top 3. Before that, let me do something a little different. Usually I give you my rating after I give you the top 3, but I'm going to go ahead and give you my rating on this album. 4 jams out of 5. I really dig this album, and I have to be completely transparent with everybody. At first listen, I wasn't feeling it. Now, this album runs 13 songs and is about an hour and 18 minutes. Now, the first 4 cuts on the album, it didn't really do it for me. I don't know why. At first listen, they're good jams. The album opens with Blues Before Sunrise. That is kind of a standard, let's open a blues album track. I think From the Cradle by Clapton opens with it. There's a lot of people's done that jam. And for those of y'all that don't know, that most of these songs are standard blues songs that the band rehashed. I didn't notice it when I saw the track listing, but once I listened to it, there's a song on here that Warren wrote that Joe Bonamassa does, If Heartaches Were Nickels, so that's cool. There's a Tom Waits song on here. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so I wasn't getting it. And then I got down, I had heard the 5th song on the album, which is Snatch It Back and Hold It. That's a good jam. That's a real good jam. And I had gotten through the first 4 songs. Snatch It Back is the 5th song, which got me then I got the song 6, and then song 7 is called Brother Bill, Last Clean Shirt. Now, from the 7th song of the album to the 13th, the very last song of the album, I was hooked. I was hooked on this. I can't say that enough. I have wore some of these songs out, and that is where my top 3 actually comes from. So if I was going to hand you this and say start here with this Gov't Mule Blues album, number 3 is going to be the song that I mentioned, If Heartaches Were Nickels. If Heartaches Were Nickels is the 11th song on the album, and it runs 7 minutes and 28 seconds. Now, if you've never heard Joe Bonamassa do If Heartaches Were Nickels, it's pretty rocking. The chord progression, whatever Warren was thinking when he wrote it, it's a killer song. Joe's version had Greg Allman on it. On one of them, I think it had Leslie West also, if I remember right. I may be wrong on that. I need to look that up. But yeah, If Heartaches Were Nickels, he does it live. He's done it a lot. I've never heard Gov't Mule do it in person. I'd seen videos of it. So yeah, very cool. Very cool. This version of it is a mid-tempo blues kind of thing, and Warren just knocks it out. The whole band really knocks it out. Matt Apps, the drummer, is just locked in. The organ Carlson's locked in. I mean, they're all locked in. Danny Lewis on the keys. So, very great version. Number 2, my number 2 jam off the album that I think is one of the top jams is the number 7 song of the album, and it's called Brother Bill, Last Clean Shirt. Now, I got to do some research on this to see who originally wrote it or whatever, but this version is killer. It's basically about a guy finds his brother dead in an old Ford, and when they bury him, they're putting his last clean shirt. He gets the last clean shirt that he'll ever wear, and it's just a rocking song. It really, when I got to this, picked the album up for me. Some of y'all may disagree. I mean, Snatch It Back and Hold It, number 5 song is good, gets you going. But Last Clean Shirt hooked me in the album and then finished it off for me down to song 13. Now, my number 1 track off the album is so hard for me to pick. Feel Like Breaking Up Somebody's Home. I had seen them do that live. I've seen Gov't Mule do it live a lot. And they completely smoke that song when they do it live. The groove is infectious. I asked for water. She gave me gasoline. This version even has like a kind of a Hendrixy kind of rough version. So that's that one's pretty smoking. But my number 1 song off the album, I have to say, is the song Make It Rain, which is a Tom Waits song. And if you've never listened to Tom Waits is a genius songwriter. Vocally, he may not be your thing. If you want to be able to sing like Tom Waits, go to the junkyard and buy a Flowmaster and swallow it, and there you go. If you looked up his version of this song, his vocal, Tom Waits has a distinct voice that is truly his. I dig his stuff. There's one album in particular, Mule Variations, that I rock a lot. But this version, Warren's vocal brings the song to another level. Their timing on the song, it really sucks you in. You feel the emotion. So Make It Rain is the number 8 song on the album, and it runs 6 minutes and 41 seconds. So there's my take on Gov't Mule's blues album, and why it took them 20 some odd years to drop a blues album. I'm not sure. timing is everything, as Warren would say. At first, I have to correct myself because the review video I did for Heavy Load, I was disappointed. I said I was disappointed that they did not do an album of original material, but I stand corrected. This album, the playing on this album, the band is so good. Warren did say in an interview that they have another album of original stuff ready to go that they'll probably drop next year, which is exciting. But for this, if you're not steeped in blues music in the songs, they feel original. They feel alive. They sound alive. You can tell the band was standing in a room together jamming, because there's very little overdub stuff on this. It sounds like they set up, and if you watch the videos of it, they were kind of tightly set up together, and they did their thing. They did what Gov't Mule does, which is blow your socks off. So if you've never seen them, next year if they hit the road, I suggest you get off your ass and you go get kicked by the mule, okay? Trust me, you won't be disappointed. I have been kicked by the mule 20 some odd times, I think, or 15 or something like that, ever since I was first introduced to them way back in the early 2000s. So, Heavy Load Blues, Gov't Mule, 1 hour, 18 minutes. I give it 4 jams out of 5. I don't think it'll disappoint. Don't be biased on me. Listen to the whole album. I like kind of the last half of the album. I don't know why. But yeah, there you go. So remember to stay safe. Keep rocking out there on the old interweb. And remember that music is love and love is music. Until next time.